for sale by owner is one of the best listing leads you can get out there. But it costs like $50 to $100 a month just to get the list. And we realized that most of this data is publicly available, or even if it's private, there are ways to get it.
Hello and welcome to episode 27 of the Smart Agents Podcast. My name is Michael Walter and I'll be your host. On today's episode, we are joined by Chris Jones, founder of Guerilla Realty, to talk all about the free apps that they provide agents to generate leads and better market themselves. More specifically, we're going to be learning about Fizbonanza.com. That's a free app that brings you new FSBO leads each week, and we've also linked Fizbonanza and Chris's additional apps down in the episode description. Now, before we get into today's featured interview, make sure to follow and subscribe to the show on whatever platform you listen to podcasts. You can find us on all major podcasting platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and the list goes on. Also, as you can see if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents YouTube channel. Click the bell to get notifications each time a new episode is uploaded. And lastly, if you or somebody else on your team has an awesome story to share, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. We're always on the lookout for new stories to feature. All right, so moving on with today's episode. Again, we're joined by Chris Jones of Guerilla Realty. All right, so pretty much the way I like to start everything out is if you could just, tell me a little bit about yourself and what, your background in the real estate industry.
Yeah, so my name is Chris Jones. Currently, I'm the founder and CEO of Guerilla Realty, and our tagline is we make tools and training for rapidly growing your real estate business. But I got my start in real estate because of my dad. And I'll just tell you the quick story. My dad, when I was growing up, when I was a little kid, he was always in the automotive repair business. He worked from being a mechanic to owning several franchises. They were called Mr. Transmissions franchises. But it was one of those soul-sucking jobs where you can do your job flawlessly. And at the end of the day, all your customers still hate you. Right? He had to carry to work because, someone shows up with a shotgun. Give me my car back. I can't afford it, but I need my car fixed. Right. But it's just one of those jobs where they're always pissed because they're pissed their car's broke. They're pissed they have to pay you to fix it. And so he realized around age 40 that he just couldn't do that for the rest of his life, that it was going to be too draining. And he had a friend, a guy named Dave Evans here in North Carolina, recruited him and said, look, with your business background, you'd be phenomenal at real estate. Go get your license. Come work with me. And so he worked at a local Century 21. This was around the time that he actually got his license and got started, around the time that I was graduating high school. And I went to about a year and a half of college, plus I'd already completed some in high school. I was homeschooled, so I was like one of those super high achievers. So I was like over halfway done with my degree, but my dad said, look, having a lot of success in real estate, come work with me. And so I did. And together we grew a really big team. Here in North Carolina, it was at its peak. We ended up getting too big for the local Century 21. So we started our own franchise, or our own independent brokerage. At our peak, we had around 120 agents, which is nothing compared to a lot of big cities. But here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, that was friggin' massive. I think it actually made us the biggest, or not independent, made us the biggest brokerage at that time here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. So we had a lot of success, and the reason why is my dad had taken what he learned from running automotive repair franchises and applied it to real estate. So when he got into real estate, 2003, pretty much the only marketing that was going on was, make sure you're staying in touch with your friends and family, and the sphere of the old school sphere of influence stuff. And he didn't have a network here in North Carolina, and the network that he did have was already being serviced by all of his friends who were already realtors. Right. And so he when he got into real estate, he had big plans. He was used to making a 6-figure income, and he had set aside about 6 months of expenses. But 6 months in, his savings was almost completely gone, and his real estate career had not taken off yet. And so he said, you know what? Before I just bow out and decide that this was a career mistake and go back to the automotive repair thing, why don't I just try real estate on my own terms? And so he took, the idea of advertising online and having a website to capture leads, which is what he did in the automotive repair business. He just applied that to real estate. And now that's everybody, blase, everybody does that now. Right. But back then it was unheard of. And so He did that, and overnight he had more leads than he knew what to do with, and he started doing a ton of sales and deals himself. And then he had to hire team members, right? And so that's how he began to grow. And so he always had this germ of an idea that, look, there's a software business in here somewhere. If you could create this website and show people how to do what I did, like you could sell this thing. And he kind of half-heartedly did it on his own. It was under the banner Favorite Agent was the name of his company. And he got some sales, and he had the software thing, and but never was able to do it full time because he was focused on real estate, growing a great real estate business. Well, ultimately he retired, and I took the germ of that idea. My brother Levi and I took the germ of that idea and started Guerilla Realty. Right. And we've gotten a lot more crystal clear on what our mission is at a company. At the beginning, we were just selling a course. Yeah. Right. So we were selling a course on how to do this step by step, like a step-by-step playbook on how to grow a real estate business the way that we did. And it was really successful. What I found out was that people are usually not successful with courses. Right. So like they have like a 2% completion rate, let alone who knows what the execution rate is, right? I'm sure you've seen it yourself, Michael.
Right. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm guilty of it too. You sign up for a course, and halfway through it, something comes up and you bail on it and you never come back to it.
Exactly. Like I said, there's actual stats out there show that the average online course has a 2% completion rate. As we found is that we weren't helping that many agents win this whole real estate thing. And so we said, well, what is it that they really need? And they it was teaching a listing course, and they said, well, look, the listing presentation of the course and everything is fantastic, but I'm just struggling to get the leads. And so I came back to this idea that my dad originally had. And I said, well, what they really need is a marketing engine. And this is what we decided. My brother and I said, well, look, real estate is the greatest business on earth. It really is. I truly believe that. It's the only business where you can be like a nail tech last week, or you can be a waitress, or you can be a truck driver. And literally, I have a story. Truck driver joined our team, went from making $50,000 a year, working 90 hours a week, to working half that, but making $500,000. Like we literally did that. It's the only business in the world where you can be a nail tech making $20,000 a year last, and then come in and there's no cap on your income. Like you can make $250,000. We've seen it happen, right? Greatest business on earth. But the problem is that getting consistent clients is really friggin' hard. And so what we decided we wanted to commit the next 10 to 20 years of our lives to in building Guerilla Realty is building what we call a marketing engine. And this is the metaphor that we use. If everyone who wanted to drive a car had to learn how to build the internal combustion engine from scratch, nobody would drive cars, right? But that didn't happen. Somebody invented the internal combustion engine, and now you can turn a key, or forget turn a key. Now at 2021, you just press the button. Right? Yeah. You just press the button. So like 16-year-old girls that know nothing about mechanics to press the button, and they can drive around like a pro, right? And they can get from point A to point B. And that's what we want to build in terms of a marketing engine for realtors. So everyone who joins real estate right now, they flounder for years and try to build their own marketing engine from scratch and their own referral, blah. And there's all kinds of coaches and gurus. We want to build a marketing engine so that you can just press a button and then you can get consistent names and numbers of people that need your services, right? And so that's what we're committed. And our flagship product is called Pipeline Pro Tools. And I know we're not here to talk about that. I don't want to give a sales pitch on it, but that's our stab at building the ultimate marketing engine. And I think that it's a great stab at it, but we're going to continue to work on that and to improve the product so that we do have like that turnkey marketing engine that anyone can use, regardless of whether you're a marketing genius or not, right? If you're just a great agent, then we'll give you the tools and we'll give you the engine so that you can get clients consistently and not worry about it. So that's my background. That's my story. And that's why Guerilla Realty exists. Right.
Well, in talking about building that engine, a lot of people I talk to, especially the successful ones, they talk about how, so many people, they focus so hard on the lead generation that they don't have the time to focus on the becoming a better salesperson and converting those leads. Mm-hmm. So having something that is doing that for you and allowing you to focus on becoming that salesperson is so beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So what, as you have gone on with Guerilla, what are some of the things that you guys are doing to build that engine?
So obviously Pipeline Pro Tools, our flagship product. That's the marketing engine that we're trying to build. But one of the ways that we use, or the ways that we use to tell more people about Pro Tools and introduce people to Guerilla Realty and what we do, is we build free apps. So you're not going to find them in the iOS App Store, the Android App Store. They're all online. But I'll name a couple of them. One of them is Listing Cake. It's just something that we knew is a product that needed to be out there that wasn't. But it's a free tool you can use to build awesome listing videos in less than 60 seconds, make you look like a pro movie producer, but you don't have to be, right? So you just I go to a house, I use my iPhone and I take a couple of snapshots, and then I take a couple of 15-second video clips. I load them all up into Listing Cake. I put them in the order that I want them. I choose an overlay that's got all my information, makes me look awesome, and then choose background music and hit download the final cut, and it's all ready made for me. And it was just a tool out there that there are agents that were trying to use different iPhone apps and stuff to link together this perfect real estate, but nothing's built for real estate agents. So we just built a web app. You go to listingcake.com, you can do it all right from your phone. So that's something. We also built Fizbonanza, which I know you wanted to talk about today. Mm-hmm. Fizbonanza is just an app that we realized that there's all these companies that charge for sale by owner data. So if you want to, for sale by owner is one of the best listing leads you can get out there if you know how to approach them. Most agents approach them wrong, but we can talk about that later. But the best listing lead that you can get out there, but it costs $50 to $100 a month just to get the list. And we realized that most of this data is publicly available, or even if it's private, there are ways to get it. And we're a software company, so we said, could we build an awesome app that downloaded all the for sale by owner leads, complete with mailing address and phone numbers, and let people just punch in their zip code and download all the leads in their area, within a 15-mile radius. And it turns out, yeah, we absolutely can. So we're gonna. So our number one core value as a company is that we're here to help agents win. And so about once a quarter, we release a brand new app, and you can go to guerillarealty.com/tools, and it'll show you all the tools that we built. There's 8 or 9 of them at this point, just different apps that we built that we decided that's something that needs to be out there, but it's not. And they're 100% free, and they'll always be free. And all you have to do in order to use it is enter your email address. And then once you're on our email list, I'll tell you the only thing that we ever do is we release more free apps or more training playbooks that we'll teach you through. It was just a terminology that we use for a step-by-step formula to get leads. And then we also teach webinars, and our webinars are friggin' awesome. They're not like the classic sales pitch webinars. We have 3 rules. You got to be able to absorb the lesson in 45 minutes. You got to be able to execute it this afternoon in less than 2 hours, and you got to get a result within 24 hours. And if it doesn't meet those 3 standards, then we don't build a webinar around the idea. So we take all of our step-by-step marketing formulas or playbooks, we teach them as webinars. And so once you're on our list, that's what we teach. And of course, then we'll introduce you to Pro Tools if it seems like it'd be a good fit for you.
Right.
And get a demo and buy it. But that's why we exist. That's how we do what we do.
Right. So with Fizbonanza, absolutely, FSBOs are such a great source of leads. I mean, what is it? 69% of them eventually list?
Yeah, it's 70%. It's there, 70%. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, why wouldn't you go after those? So how does the app work? I mean, tell me a little bit about how this, grabs these leads that people would otherwise be paying for.
So we've got a complete genius as a software engineer or lead software engineer, and he has a team of guys that he works with. But most of these for sale by owners, the slow way to do it is you can go on Zillow and just do a search for sale by owner. Then you can just one by one click and get the information that you need, right? But the problem is that it takes 8 hours to get all the leads you need, right? And so we thought, well, how can we speed that up? And so first of all, the first thing we started doing was just grabbed all those leads off of Zillow and made it so that you could serve them up really quickly. So the way that it works, if you're listening, literally go type in Fizbonanza.com. So F-I-Z Bonanza. I just play on the word Fizbo in the way that we pronounce Fizbo. But it's Fizbonanza, so F-I-Z Bonanza.com. And I'm sure there'll be a link in the show notes or something, absolutely. Right? Yep. So Fizbonanza.com, go there. It requires you put in your email address. You can always unsubscribe from our stuff later if you don't want to. But It requires you putting your email address, and then it asks for your zip code. And do you want to search 5 miles, 10 miles, or 15-mile radius? And you click search, and in about 10 seconds, maybe less, it's going to download all of the data in your area. And we started with Zillow, but then we found out there's all these other great apps that store this data. And either this stuff is publicly available or it's privately available, but it's still there. And we know how to grab it. And so we go out and grab that data, and we put it, and we basically we search the whole frigging country every 24 hours. It costs us a lot of money to do it. But I think this is a thing that's helped a ton of agents really, really win at getting FSBOs, and it's cool because it doesn't cost a dime, right? We actually just added a new feature where you can subscribe to your search. So like my zip code is 28314. So I'll search 15 miles within 28314, and then I'll subscribe to the search. So every Monday at 9 a.m., it'll just email me the new leads. And I don't have to check back. It's just like an automatic lead gen machine that just emails you. And again, it's 100% free.
Right. So, I mean, it's like having a virtual assistant somewhere else that every Monday, here's their check-in.
Yep. And you can download it as a CSV, so you can upload it to LionDesk or whatever contact manager you use, whatever CRM. And it's just an awesome tool that we've built to help agents get more listings.
I mean, so yeah, tell me about that. You're building something for free to do all this. What's it? I guess there's a lot of people that are like, why are you doing this for free?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We developed a little company mantra. It's going to sound cheesy to some people, but I think that realtors, above all else, should really take this to heart. And this actually relates to we teach a very unique FSBO approach. And I know that Smart Agents does as well. And I think it follows a similar principle. But the normal way that people follow up with FSBOs is all like me. Let me get the listing. I'll sell it for you. Me. I. Right. And what we realized when we started building free apps and we got crystal clear on, like, here's our business model. We're going to build free stuff that people have to enter their email. We're going to grow our list, and we're going to make sure that we deliver really freaking valuable stuff to that list. And we're not going to sell. And we're not going to beg for money. And instead, we're just going to build awesome stuff that's impossible to ignore. And that's going to result in higher sales in our flagship product. A lot of people scratch their head and think, no. At some point, you have to go for the sale, right? And no, you don't. So we have this mantra here. And again, it's going to sound cheesy to some people, but our mantra is profit is, and again, this applies to realtors too, but profit is the value that you create for others minus whatever it costs you to create it. Okay. And it's that simple. So like last year, do I have time to tell you a quick story about
Absolutely.
COVID last year?
Absolutely.
All right. So last March, so it's almost a year ago, last March, COVID-19, right? The whole country shuts down. Realtors are panicking, right? The stock market crashes. People assume, realtors are always the hardest hit by any kind of economic downturn. Right? The first thing people stop doing is like moving, right? Realtors are freaking out, right? They think that it's going to be 2007, 2008 all over again. I remember the emails. And so I pulled my team into a meeting, and I said, look, this is everybody on the staff. I said, look, guys, there's two ways to approach a pandemic, a crisis, whatever it is, okay? An economic downturn, two ways to approach it. You can do what most companies are going to do, which is pull back, stockpile cash, cut your ad spend, basically hold on for dear life and just hope that you come out alive on the other side, right? Or you can do what I propose, which is you can go on the attack. You can look for new angles. You can double your ad spend. And we're a company that's built perfectly for an opportunity like that. We're extremely lean, extremely small staff. We have really, really great cash flow, and we save all of our money. We don't blow it. On expensive retreats and private jets and stuff like that. But anyway, so we're like perfectly built for this opportunity. And so I said, look, what I would like to do is, remember, our mantra is profit is the value you create for others minus whatever it costs you to create it. Is what I would like to do is I would like to drop a massive value bomb this time of year. Over the next 8 weeks, we just created something that internally we called it the 60-day blitz. And it was going to be 8 weeks. We're going to drop every Friday. We're going to drop some kind of massive value. whether it's a new calculator that we just built or a new script, or we're going to write one free Craigslist ad for you, or we're going to launch Fizbonanza, or we're going to launch some of the new app. And I said, look, here's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to take our product development pipeline, so all the free apps that we're going to release over the course of the year, and we're going to sell it. We're going to build them in 60 days. And our lead software engineer wasn't thrilled about that, but he made it happen. Okay. Cause he's awesome. And then, we took our content. So all the trainings the new webinars that we're going to create, and the new articles and the new playbooks we're going to create. So we accelerated that, and everything that we were going to create over the next 12 months, we did it in 60 days. It was like all hands on deck. And I said, look, this is a massive amount of value, and we're going to drop it over 60 days. And so we did that. And the funny thing is, during that time, we sent less sales emails than we've ever sent in our history as a company. And yet we had our best 8 weeks ever revenue wise. And the reason why, and the funny thing is, when we, like, for example, during that time we launched Fizbonanza. Fizbonanza is actually a competing product to Pipeline Pro Tools, right? Meaning if you have Fizbonanza, it slightly lessens your need for Pro Tools, because Pro Tools is a marketing engine, right? It's there to get quality leads for you. And Fizbonanza also does the same thing, but it's free. You see what I'm saying? So, like, technically, it makes no sense for us to release that, but what it did is that it built trust. It let agents know that we were on their side. It showed agents that we were related to, and it was because we are agents, right? So everyone here has either been to real estate school at least, or is an active licensed realtor. Even on our like client support and client success team, they're all realtors too, which is really cool. But anyway, we had our best 8 weeks ever, right? And it was like the universe matched our energy. And I would encourage agents to follow that same mantra, that profit is the value you create for others versus what it costs to create it. And that's how we do our FSBO approach. So when we approach a FSBO, the standard line is, like, hey, are you paying a buyer's commission? Right? Which is me, right? And then they're like, yeah. And they're like, okay, I have a buyer. Can I bring a buy tomorrow? Right? And then what do? You show up tomorrow without a buyer. You know the deal. Deal, right? You show up tomorrow because there never was a buyer. You're a big fat liar. Okay. Right. Sorry if you're listening to this, I'm stepping on it. Sorry if you've ever used that script before. It's a lie. Okay. But you show up and then hey, can I show you my 9-step marketing plan that will help you sell your house faster for top dollar? And it sucks. Just being honest, it sucks. Okay. So what we do instead is we say, look, can I take a video of your house? And they're like, I mean, I guess, but why? And so, well, it's COVID-19. Not everyone wants a bunch of grubby hands in their house touching stuff. And a lot of buyers don't really want to be in some random house. They want to get save themselves a trip and see if they like it first. And then they could come out if it interests them. So can I take a video for some of my buyers? And they say, yeah, I mean, I guess I don't mind. I send them my realtor ID card so they know I am who I say I am. And then I come take a video. Right. And so I do the thing where, make sure you're in portrait mode, right? But you take take a couple of snapshots of the house. You don't have to be a pro photographer. You are a pro photographer, right? But you don't have
but honestly, I can't tell you how many stories I shot on my phone. So
really?
Oh, cool. Yeah, absolutely.
So I open I take the snapshots, and then I take like the good parts of the house. I'll take like a 15-second video clip so they really get it. And then I go on listingcake.com, right? You guys can go and do this right now. Go on listingcake.com, upload all the pictures and the video clips that I did. It takes like 10 seconds. And then I rearrange them, choose the layout, choose the music, download the final cut. And then tomorrow I call them back and I say, look, hey, Michael, I stopped by your house yesterday, as promised. Beautiful house. Actually, I'm curious, why in the world would you ever want to sell it? And to be honest, it doesn't matter what they say, but it is important that you listen, because they're going to tell you everything about their motivation, like why they're selling, right? And I say, well, look, cool. When the video came out, in my opinion, it came out awesome. Are you interested in seeing it? And this blows realtors' minds, but the answer is always yes. Right. So it's like you took a picture of the kid, like, of course I want to see it. Right. And it's weird because you live there for 3 years, you know what it looks like, but why do you want to see the videos? Because you want to see how it came out on the professional video. Right. And so they always beg, like, oh yeah, send it to me. And so I email it to them and I say, hey, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but Zillow makes it really, really, really hard for people to get in touch with you. Like, there's all these agents listed on the side of your for sale by owner property, and it looks like they're listing your property. Did you know that? And of course, trust me, they're painfully aware of it. Okay. It pisses them off. Because remember, people list FSBO either because they think they can't afford to hire a realtor because they don't have enough equity, or because they hate realtors. It's one of those two reasons. And I feel like more often than not, it's because they hate realtors, right? Realtor is unfortunately not the most popular profession in America. But anyway, so they're painfully aware of this fact, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it really pisses me off. Really, yeah, I hate that." I said, "Well, look, we actually have a cool hack that we use that gets your information listed at the top. They like bypass all that so that you can connect with a lot more of the buyers, and they're not calling the agent." And they're like, "Oh, well, tell me more, right?" And so I said, "Well, look, here's what we do. We just run your lead photo through a photo branding tool. By the way, another free app that we built, freephotobranding.com. You can go and use it. But you just run it through, and you can put a call to action on it. And so what we do is we say, I wish I could show you a picture, but we say it'll just brand your photo to say, hey, for full video tour, text this unique property code to this phone number, and you'll get the full video tour back." And I say, and we can do it two ways, and I'm equally comfortable with either way. We can put your information on it so that people are texting you directly, and you can just send them back this awesome listing cake video. Or we can actually set it up with our text autoresponder. So you do have to have a text autoresponder for this strategy. There's one included in Pro Tools, and we say you can use our text autoresponder, and then you don't have to worry about texting people back at 3 a.m., right? When you're getting text messages all hours of the night, and you connect with a lot more buyers. Is that something that you're up for? And they're like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, let's set it up." And so I brand the photo, I send it back to them. They upload the list, to the listing. And now I'm getting free buyer leads every time somebody texts. And like 9 out of 10 times they choose to use my stuff rather than using their own phone number, just because they don't want to deal with the hassle of it. And by the way, more importantly than so the average listing that we flip on Zillow will get like 13 buyer leads from it over the course of however many weeks it's active. But more importantly than the buyer leads is that now I'm that person's favorite realtor. So you said the statistics at the beginning, 70% of people who list for sale by owner eventually list with a realtor after they get frustrated, right? And I am the guy that they're going to list with because they like me, because I just offered my help and I asked for nothing in return. And so I'll usually I don't have to. Usually they'll text me around the first of the month, when they're writing the mortgage check again and they're getting really frustrated. They're like, "Chris, look, thanks for your help, but like, do you have any advice for me? Like, what would you do if you're in my shoes?" And that's like the best listing lead you can get ever, right? And so we meet for coffee or we do a Zoom and I close the deal. But otherwise, I just text them like once a week. I don't push them. I'm not pushy. I don't try to close them. I just say, "Hey, how's the listing going? Had any bites? Right? How's it going?" And I just stay in touch with them, just like as if I was a friend, right? And we actually have agents that are following the strategy using Fizbonanza to get the leads, and then following this exact strategy using all of our free tools. They've emailed us. If they execute this once a week, it's like 3 phone calls to get one person to say yes to the video. So they execute once a week. It takes about 1 to 2 hours to execute the whole thing, and they are averaging 1 new listing per week, in addition to the 13 buyer leads that they're getting from every listing. So, that's like over 500 buyer leads over the course of a year. And they're all from Zillow. Like they're like the hottest leads you can get. So anyway.
Right. Well, and I think that whole strategy, going from the way you handle your FSBOs to the way you're handling the Fizbonanza and the free apps, it's all that law of reciprocity. What you're giving out, you're getting back.
Absolutely.
Tenfold.
What you sow, you reap.
Yeah, everything is so congruent with your business model, but then also the way you train people to go after these FSBO leads as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And of course, we will definitely be dropping the links for all your all the websites and all the apps down in the descriptions below.
Okay, cool. I appreciate it, man.
I really want to thank Chris for joining us today. And I think it's so true about providing value to FSBO leads rather than going in for the sale right away. Make sure you go check out Fizbonanza.com to see how you can start collecting these FSBO leads. So once again, if you think you or somebody else on your team has an awesome story or tip to share with our community, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. Well, that wraps things up for this episode. But remember, follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts and make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents YouTube channel. Again, I'm Michael Walter, and we'll see you on the next episode.